What's up, guys? This is Luke with LP Cubing, and today we're going to teach you how to solve the Fisher cube. So the Fisher cube is a 3x3 shape mod designed by Tony Fisher, and being a shape mod, it solves exactly like a 3x3. So in order to solve this puzzle, you first need to learn how to solve a 3x3. So if you don't know how to solve one, learn how to do that first and then come back. I will put a link in the description for a tutorial. So being a shape mod of a 3x3, it also has the same type of pieces as a 3x3, so I'll go ahead and show you what the different types of pieces are. So there are two types of centers, two types of edges, and one type of corner. So the first type of center is found on the white and the yellow sides of the cube, and it's just a regular square, like on a regular 3x3. The second type of center is found running along the edges of the cube, and it has two different colors on it, so therefore these centers need to be oriented. There are also two types of edges. The first type of edges has three different colors on it, which is also found on the white and yellow side, and the second type of edge consists of just one color, and it's these pieces running along the edge of the cube, and that would leave these pieces to be the corners. Now that we know the different types of pieces, let's learn the notation. When performing algorithms, you must always hold the cube on a 45-degree angle, like this. There are also two different ways to hold the cube. The first way to hold the cube is like this, and the second way to hold the cube is like this. So holding it this way, this would be the right, this would be the left, the front, the back, top, and the bottom. The second way of holding the cube is like this. So holding it like this, this would be the front, this would be the right, left, top, and bottom. The first step of solving the Fisher cube is the cross, so to keep things simple, we're going to go ahead and make the cross on the white side. You could make the cross on another side like this, but it looks a little bit different and it's a little more confusing, so I would just start on the white side. It's not really a speed puzzle, so color neutrality is not that critical. The cross is also the most challenging part of solving a Fisher cube, and it's pretty much the only part that slightly differs from a regular 3x3. After the cross, the rest of the puzzle is relatively simple. A completed cross looks like this, with all of the white edges matched up with their correctly oriented centers. Because there are two different colors on the centers, it is important that they are correctly oriented when making the cross. Another way of doing this, rather than doing it intuitively at the beginning, is solving the cross without orienting the centers and then using an algorithm to orient them at the end. I find that just doing this intuitively at the beginning is easier, but if you like, I will put a center orientation algorithm in the description below. So for an example, this would be a correctly solved edge, but this would be incorrect as the center is not oriented. I find that the easiest way to solve an edge and match it up with the center and the cross is to bring the edge piece into the bottom layer like this, match it up with its center and correctly orient it, and then just bring it back to the top, and it's solved. There are four main different cases in which an edge can be in to get it into the bottom layer, so let's go ahead and cover those cases. A case that I won't be covering, of course, is if there is an edge already solved, because that's just obvious. So the first and easiest case is if the edge is already in the bottom layer, with the two colors that are not white facing towards you. Here, all we would have to do is orient this center, match the edge together, and bring it up into the top row. Let's go back a little bit. So what I did to orient this center is pretty simple. I saw that green is on the left and orange is on the right in this edge piece. So I could see that green is down here and orange is up here. In order to match it with the edge and put green on the left and orange on the right, all I would have to do would be an R move, and then that would put green on the left and orange on the right. Then we would just match the edge up like this and bring it into the top row. Here's another example. We see that the white, red, and green edge is over here, and the center needs to be matched with is over here. We can see that green is on the right and red is on the left, and we see that green is already on the right here and red is already on the left. So this center needs no orientation. So all we have to do is match the edge up with the center like this and bring it up to the top, and we have solved this edge of the cross. The second scenario is if there is a white edge already matched up with the center, but on the side it's matched up with the incorrect center. Now there are two different ways to do this. The first way I'm going to show you is the best way to do it if there are no edges already solved on the cross. If you do this when there are edges already solved on the cross, it's just going to mess everything else up. It'll just be more confusing. So we can see here that the center it needs to be matched up with is on the back. Green is on the left, red is on the left, green is on the left, red is on the left. We see that they're both properly oriented. So we can see that we just have to bring it around like this, and it's solved. If we had other pieces that were solved on the top, it would have screwed all of that up. The next way I'm going to show you is also very simple and is best to do if you already have edges solved on the cross. So we can see here that this one is matched up with the center, but it doesn't have its correct center on the side. So all we have to do is bring it down using two moves like this. We see that blue is on the left, red is on the right, so we'll match this. So blue is on the left, red is on the right. Match them together and bring it up. So both ways are very simple. It just depends on what case you have. The third case is very similar to the second one, and there's also two different ways you can do to solve this depending on the case that you have. And that is if you have an edge off to the side like this with the white on top. You want to hold it so that the white is facing towards you, and since this edge is on the left side, you want to bring down the left and then just bring it out like this. Doing so, if this edge would have been solved, bringing it down would have messed it up. So all we would have to do to solve it again is bring it back into place. When performing any of these steps, you may mess up what you have already done on top. So it's very important just to undo what you did to mess it up, and that way your cross won't be screwed up. So be careful of that when you're making the cross. Now that this is in the bottom row, and now that I've showed you how to match up an edge with the center, I'm not really going to be talking about it. You can just go ahead and orient the center like this, bring it together, and back up. The fourth and final case in which an edge can be in is if it's on the bottom, but instead of these two colors facing towards you, you have the white facing towards you. And you would solve it the same way if it was on top like this. So what you do, it's really simple. All you have to do is bring it up like this, turn it into case number 3, bring it down into the bottom, and then just bring this back up if it were to have been solved. Then, of course, match it up and put it back in. Now that I went ahead and show you all the cases, I'm going to go ahead and do a walkthrough of the cross so you can kind of see how it's done. So first we see we have an edge up here in the top, so you bring it off to the side, bring it back down. And what I'm going to go ahead and do here is instead of bringing this over, I'm going to go ahead and orient the center ahead of time. That way, when I bring it over, it will be correctly solved, and I just bring it back up. Alright, so next we have another one off to the side. Bring it down, and instead of bringing it over yet, you go ahead and orient this center, bring it together, and back up. So we got two pieces done. Next case is this one. Take it out like that, then we bring this back up, orient the center, whoops, orient the center, match them up, bring it up. Lastly, just like this, move it out, orient our center, back in, and there we go, our cross is solved. So after you've done the cross, you can solve the rest of the cube using either beginner's method or F2L. F2L is not hard to do and recognize on this non-WCA puzzle because the edges are just one color, so it's actually probably easier because you don't have to worry about the orientation of these edges. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to go ahead and use beginner's method to show you some examples. So this would be a corner that we would insert on the first layer. So we just put it in like this. It's very, very simple. Here's another first layer corner. Goes over here. And we put it in like this. Another one is up here, so we bring it out. And remember, this is easier to do if you have the cube on a 45-degree angle, because that's the way that you're going to have all your different sides, like F and R and L. If you hold it like this, there is no F, and you're holding it wrong. And this would be the correct perspective in order to do this. Once you just know to do that and get kind of the confusing perspective out of the way, it's very simple. So there we go. I just showed you guys the first layer. And then next, of course, we would have the edges like this. So to put in our second layer edges, just like that. It's very, very simple. We have another edge like here. And you do not have to worry at all about the orientation of these edges, so it makes it pretty simple. After the first two layers, you can just solve the last layer however you want using either Fuller class layer, OLL, and PLL, or any other way you can solve the last layer. And once again, this is just like a 3x3 and is really easy. One more thing I do want to say is, when solving the last layer, you can get parity, where one of the edges needs to be flipped. So if I continued to solve the cube with this parity, when it was done it would look like this. As we can see, this edge is flipped and wrong. So to fix this parity, there is a very simple short algorithm, and it is this. And remember when you're doing this to hold the cube at a 45-degree angle. R, U, R prime, U2, R, U2, R prime, U, F prime, U prime, F. And that would flip the edge. This is all you need to know in order to solve a Fisher cube. If you have any issues, problems, questions, concerns, or anything like that, need help with a certain issue, let me know with a video response in the comments below, and I will get back to you on how to fix this issue. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.